So we are checking out a Prithviraj Sukumaran interview talking about L2 Empuraan, about Mohanlal, about directing SRK and the SS Rajamouli film. And I've heard he has even mentioned something about me. I've been told that, I'm not really sure, so we'll find out. But if you haven't seen the original video, I'll put the link in the description. You can check it out on the Galatta India channel. Yeah, that's a different channel they have. There's a reaction to it, substitute. I'll be pausing while talking. There's some other interviews he has done, which I'll be checking out soon. And the reaction to those will be available early for the members. So if you really like the content of the channel and to support it, you can become a member. Get to watch those videos early and some member-only videos to song reactions. To know more, click on the join button. And without any delay, let's have a look.
From being an object of desire in Ayya to desiring for life, food and survival in Adu Jivitam, I feel he's one of the finest actors that this country has ever produced. And I hope, and I told him this and I pray that this year he gets the national award. Well, now he's actually a filmmaker too. He said he called himself a part-time director. Doesn't seem like from the teaser of L2 Empuraan. Joining me for a conversation on Galatta India is Prithviraj sir. Hello, how are you, sir?
Very well. Thank you so much for all the words. How are you?
Sir, I am...
We will get Adu Jivitam award. Come on. I don't think... Yeah, he has to.
Good. I'm feeling so happy. I'm feeling full because we've eaten a lot in Kochi today.
Oh, good. Okay. I hope Kerala is treating you well.
I love Kerala.
Yeah, okay.
And we went out shopping and all of that. But are you expecting, before I come to this, I've been messaging you because when the film dropped, on OTT platform, everybody watched it and the reactions were crazy for Adu Jivitam as well. It's one of the best films that was made last year critically. And the commercial success, of course, adds to that. Are you somewhere deep down expecting like a big award for that?
No.
Why? Why do you say
Nice.
this? Yesterday Mohanlal sir said that you don't consider yourself a big filmmaker. Why do you do this to yourself? Why?
Disappointment only happens when you expect. So I don't expect anything.
Is that a line from Noveum also? Zendaya says it, right?
Whatever that film, whatever I was expecting of that film, I've already gotten it. My biggest hope for that film was that we are able to make it the way it should be made. We did that. I was really hoping that people resonate with it. People did across the world. It is one of Malayalam cinema's biggest ever hits.
Yes.
I was secretly hoping that people like my portrayal of Najib. People have liked my portrayal of Najib.
Loved.
Yeah. End of story. Now,
I think that's pretty much it, right? Like everything which is in your control. Like people like it or not is not in your control, but at least you try to deliver it a way that they do. So you did everything which is in your control. Now getting an award or not, it's not in your control, and that's a good thing. Don't think about things which is not under your control.
I've moved on. So
last time when we met, we had spoken about Empuraan, and you had said that there'll be a time when I'll be able to speak about it in more details. And I remember that Murli Gopi sir had actually sent you that video bite when we did that show.
Yes.
Now going back to that, Empuraan, when you did Lucifer, the whole structure was not there in between Hindi films and the whole, there was still a divide, okay?
Yeah.
Especially I was just discussing with Mohanlal sir as well, that when we speak about pan-India films, back then it was only about Hindi films and possibly Telugu films. There was not really much of any other regional films being celebrated to that extent. Today, if you see last year, some of the biggest films that hit box office wise, even from the Hindi circuit, were actually Malayalam films. So does that give you hope that with this film, it is going to be bigger because the structure is also much bigger?
no, we sure.
Good question.
So we hope that this film finds resonance across the country, across the world. You're right. When Lucifer released, we were still coming to terms with our theatrical markets beginning to expand and all that. In fact, it was with Lucifer that overseas markets especially took a sort of a proliferation in exponential terms. So right now, I think this film sort of subconsciously, accidentally coincides with that phenomenon in a very nice way, because this is a very honest progression of the narrative that we had in place for 3 films of the franchise.
Yeah.
Even back in...
I know that's good thing. I like that they already had a plan for 3 parts. It's not that first part works, let's make a part 2, or first part worked and if it's good, let's just add a tag at the end and let's see if it happens, we'll make a part 2 also. It doesn't feel like a cash grab kind of a thing. They already have a setup for 3 films. And they are organically gonna build it up. It's not gonna be out of nowhere it's happening.
2017.
Yeah.
But as it so happens, the second part of the franchise is very much national in its scape and also international in how the story happens and travels. In fact, about 35% of the film is in Hindi.
And you've actually retained the Hindi dialogue in all the language teasers that I saw yesterday.
That's just for my character.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are many more characters and a significant portion of the film that happens
Interesting.
Has been shot in
Hindi. And I'm going to retain that as Hindi in all 5 versions of the film.
Oh, wow.
I have to tell you that when you walk into the theater to watch Empuraan for the first 20-25 minutes, it will seem like you're watching a Hindi film. But it'll...
Interesting. So there'll be like Malayalam subtitles, I would guess. Now, if they are not Malayalam subtitles, and if you don't understand Hindi that well, you will feel how I feel when I watch a Malayalam film without subtitles. I hope that's not the case. No one should go through that. But yeah, that's very interesting. Like, that can actually help. Maybe I don't know if it's a strategic decision to make the film more, have a better appeal, or is it just about that's how the story is happening and that's what they've done. That's interesting.
To Kerala, it will come to Malayalam, it will go back to Hindi, then it'll go to London. So it's a
mix of everything.
Yeah, so it's not a deliberate design. That's how this story actually organically progressed. So this film having that quality, coinciding with this whole now the release is becoming so wide, I think is a genuinely good opportunity for us, and I hope people like what they see. It's a very ambitious film. I'm assuming this is not the kind of cinema that someone in the north, a cinephile in the north, usually associates Malayalam cinema with.
Yep.
So maybe look at it as our shot at holding our own, in the world of big ticket, big scale commercial entertainers.
I think people who you just referred.
That's a good point, because also Malayalam cinemas create an image about itself that it's all about storytelling and the filmmaking, the craft, and how amazing they are. Like, I think the lens has become so sharper. That's a good thing to understand, that it's a big commercial film they are making. And if they can at least hold some attributes still to it, that I think just elevates it as just from being just a commercial entertainer to being a great commercial entertainer.
They're also waiting for this to happen. I watched this movie. It's Kadhal. Is it how it's pronounced, with Mammootty sir?
Kadhal.
What a brilliant film, right?
Absolutely.
There are very few superstars from any other language actually trying out content like this. They're doing big ticket, hyper heroic films and performances, but not these things which are coming from Malayalam cinema. So of course, why not? Why can't we have a hyper heroism kind of a film as well? But you have apparently said this in many interviews, that this is a very small film, this is not that big film. You've always said it, and then there have been conversations on social media where you've called your producer and said that I need these many helicopters. So please tell us, why would you do that?
So I understand the whole hype around the follow-up film to a very iconic blockbuster. I understand that, but I try my best to
not oversell.
Is maintain that this is just any other mainstream film. Only give it that much thought, because I want you to go to the theaters with an open mind and see the film. I always say that there's absolutely no point in me sitting here today and telling you, actually, this is what the film is about. Actually, this is what the film is. What you see and you get from the film is what the film is about. There's no other. There's no other argument to it. And I am notorious / unfortunately famous for shooting things in real. Okay, for all
that's good. That's actually good.
With the scale and the canvas and the sequences in this film, when we initially set out with the narration, I think the producers thought he's actually meaning a film which is going to be almost 80% shot inside a studio floor against green screens, and then we do that, and then I say not really. We are going to be traveling to all these countries.
That's actually a good thing which used to happen a lot back in the day. But see, the technology has come in, and I've talked about this before also. Use it technology wherever you don't have any other alternative. When you have better alternatives, why you're misusing the technology? Because you have a technology, you can just put green screen, VFX. That's not how. Don't do lazy work. that's lazy work that you don't want to go shoot abroad in the right locations, want to get up early or wait late to get that golden atmosphere, whatever like kind of shot you want. You have to wait patient, like that's filmmaking, right? Wait for it, get the perfect shot. It's like the cheating thing. When there were less resources, you don't have any other option, then you cheat and try to recreate it VFX wise, this wise, that wise. But when you have the opportunity options, you have to go. And I think that's what happened with Hollywood also, that everything is looks the same, everything is VFX, everything is green screen, but it's not even needed. Maybe they have too much money, so they are just, we don't care, we'll do everything in post, and that's now affecting their films. So many flops, back to back, big films, big heroes, but no story, just VFX, that's it. And that's a good thing, to really like go there, shoot, and that comes across the screen. Do you feel it?
And shooting all of them for real. And I try and stay away from CGI as much as I can.
Yeah.
That's not to say that there is no CGI. There is extensive CGI in the film, but I try and capture as much as I can in real. So everything you see in this, the choppers and the explosions and the stunts and the action, nothing is VFX.
And you have actually shot it over 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I only shot the film for 145 days.
Spread across.
In fact, we planned the film, my initial chart, which I still have a copy on my mobile phone, is 173 days. So we actually undercut that number of days by a good margin.
Wow.
But we shot it across 2 years. I started in 2023 October, and we finished in 2024 November, I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I shot it across 1 year and a couple of months, but only for 145 days, because we had to travel across so many different countries and so many different places, even within India. It was quite difficult to be adjusting our shooting schedules with the availability of artists. And the only actor who told me, whenever you call, I'm there, is Mr. Mohanlal.
I want to ask you, when you speak about Mohanlal, sir, you've met him as a child also, right?
Yeah.
You've grown up knowing him as somebody who's been very fond of your father as well.
Yeah.
So when you're directing him, you also have this uncle-like figure and a superstar-like figure, and then you're the director also. Then you have to say like, no, maybe you should do it this way. How do you balance it out? Are there days when you find it difficult because of his stature?
So in fact, Mohanlal sir's relationship with my family goes back even more. It's with my mother's side of the family, actually. My mom used to take him to school.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's very...
Wow. That's weird. Direct someone like that, like, wow. Like, it's not about weird, it's about, like, I'm thinking of someone, a close by relative kind of a person, and I have to kind of tell him what to do and this and that. Like, yeah, that would feel like awkward, but yeah, as a professional, you have to come over that and do it.
Very close with my mom's side of the family. Still is very close. And then he became this superstar, this phenomenon that Malayalam cinema produced, and the relationship has been there forever. And then he's worked with my dad, and I've seen him from a very young age. But the greatest thing about Mohanlal sir is that when he's on set, of course he knows me. So I've said this many times. He calls me Mone, which is literally means son. So when we are sitting and chatting, he'll be Mone, and all, he'll be chatting. And the moment an assistant comes and says, the shot is set, and he'll walk to the other side of the camera, he immediately switches to sir.
I've heard this before.
He'll be like, sir, what do you want me to do? I remember the first day of shoot of Lucifer Part 1. He came in and asked me this. I was sitting by the monitor with the shot setup. He came in and asked me, sir, what would you like me to do? And I'm like, yeah, sir, you read the scene? I said, yeah, I read the scene. I said, so this is a shot. You're sitting there, and the camera is going to come to you. Okay, but what would you like me to do? And I realized that is his process. He actually wants to really listen to what the director wants.
Yeah, director's actor.
Yeah, and that is such a joy. And me being an actor myself, I know that is priceless for an actor, That's what I look for from my directors. For my directors to come and clearly tell me, this is what I want. So then I can bring my actor's interpretation part into his vision. And he's such a joy to work with that you tend to forget that he is this mighty superstar.
Both of them are professionals, right? Like, I think that's how you can sustain yourself so long. Like, you cannot really, be very like, oh, I'm the star, I'm the hero. Like, that will not last forever. That soon you will become irrelevant.
Or the fact that he's seen you grow up. You tend to forget all that. It just becomes such a professional equation. And then you say cut, and then he's again back to cracking jokes that I can't talk about here.
But you have got like so many actors together, right?
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing. Like we were also discussing in the other room that it is very difficult to get so many actors from a Hindi film industry or maybe other film industries together in one film. And there are so many films that have not gotten made. Many directors have come and spoken about so many films that have two hero films also not getting made because of insecurities. How do you manage to do that? As an actor, you've done those films.
Yeah.
And as a director, you've managed to get all these actors in one film.
I just think that we are blessed with a heritage and with a practice that these legends have set, that everything depends on the script. I was just answering another question to another friend from the media where I'm not a big believer in the narrative that Malayalam cinema is superior and all that. I don't think so. We are going through a great phase.
Yeah.
I don't deny that. But great
That's
films are
good.
being made everywhere. And there is also, not too long ago, I can very clearly remember us sitting here and thinking, man, how is Hindi cinema doing this? When Anurag and Vikramaditya and all of them burst onto the scene, I remember all of us sitting and thinking, man, how are they able to write these? How are they making this? That was not too long ago.
Yeah.
So it's not like, we are superior or anything. We're going through a good phase. But if there is one thing that I'd like maybe other industries to look at and observe closely in Malayalam cinema, is the fact that we still treat writers as the cornerstone of our industry.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is another industry where writers are the ones putting together projects, including Lucifer. It is a writer who pitched an idea to me that he wanted, that he's wrote with Mohanlal in mind, and asked me if I would direct it. And it is a writer who then calls Mohanlal sir and asks him, Prithvi would like to direct this. Would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
So the writers are the...
It's like the power is in the writer's hand, not in the producer's hand or the hero's hand, and they are dictating the terms. And that was a thing. We saw a documentary about two legendary writers of Indian cinema and the world, you can say. Like Javed Akhtar and Salim Javed, they were the superstars of those films, not the actor, not the director. But with their name, the movie name was referred to. So there was a time in Indian cinema like that. So that has gone away, right? Like nowadays, you don't even know the names of the writers who are making the film. The hero, the director may sometimes. That's it.
One's holding the power. And I think that is a very, very important lesson to take away. That is how we look at writing. That is how we look at what is written on paper.
Yeah.
Because of that, I don't need to convince anyone. I just need to tell them this is the film, this is the character. And every actor worth his or her salt will know if this is worth doing or not.
Absolutely.
But then there are also big favors being done. Like when I'm shooting a film like this, someone like a Tovino, who's like a brother to me, I'm pulling him out of these big ticket films that he's doing as a main lead, and I'm telling I need you for 2 days in New Orleans. And the poor boy has to now take a flight from somewhere and land here and then take a flight from there to New York and then come to New Orleans and shoot for 3 hours and then fly back. They do that for me because of the relationship.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're in the film is because of what is written. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like if you take an actor like Tovino, who is like come to the scene, he's now a big, leading hero in Malayalam cinema. He has delivered multiple hits. And in other industry, I would not see him like, now I'm a big hero, I'll not do this in small role. Why should I? Or maybe increase my role, make me a co-lead or something like. No, that's possible only in Malayalam cinema.
Relationships have always been the crux of anything in the industries, any industries that work on art, right? Today that's dying a little bit. That's a conversation even I've had with people. Like when I started off as a journalist, the relationship that actors had with journalists is not the same.
Yeah.
But the problem is the generalization that has happened, that every journalist is going to be the same, every actor is going to be the same, which is why I connect with you guys, because I feel like, yes, you're right. Like relationships ke upar jab hota hai na, to lagta hai ki it will always happen for the right reasons,
See, like yesterday Mammootty sir came in person to launch the teaser of my film. He was supposed to be somewhere else that I know personally. It was a very close family member's wedding.
Yeah.
And he actually was late for that wedding. But unfortunately, we could not push the teaser time because of various reasons. But he still made it a point to come. That's only for the relationship.
Yeah.
That's only because he shares a very deep bond with Mohanlal sir. And he also looks at me that way. And even for Lucifer 1, it was Mammootty sir who launched the teaser.
Yes.
Yeah, so when I did Janagana Mana, the film, I was at that time shooting in Jordan, sorry, in Algeria for Goat Life. I wanted the opening voiceover to be Mammootty sir's voice. I only called him. I called him from there. I first wouldn't, I said I won't ask him because I had asked so many favors from him. I won't ask him. I remember I called him and I said, I'm so sorry for having called you for this favor. And he's like, why would you feel sorry about calling me? And I was suddenly taken aback. And I'm like, I just shouldn't have said that. I said, nothing. Can you do the voiceover? Yeah. And then that was it. So so we had that relationship with the industry. So
I think that's I think hallmark of a good relationship, right? Like when you don't feel it, like sometimes happen, right? Oh, he's a friend, but should I call him at this time or should I not say that? And like if you filter yourself, if there's a hesitation, then it's not a great relationship. Like not great as in, but it's not as bonded as it. Like if I know someone and we have a good relationship, that guy can call me anytime, anywhere, say anything. You should not have a filter like that, and that should be equal. Then that should be like a equal thing happening. But it should not be that, "Arey, why should I call him? I called him very like long time back, and now I want a favor. Now I'm calling it." Like that should not be there. Like if you know me, you call me. If it's a work, it's a work. Favor, it's a favor. That what does it matter? Last time also got for a favor. It's not like you have to before taking a favor, you have to call me, and then the next week you call me again, and then you build up, and then you ask for a favor. Like no, if you have some work, ask me. That's the point of communication, right? You have work, you want to communicate, right? If you don't have work, you just I don't want you to just call me just for the sake of asking how everything and then just done. That's waste of time. That's like it should that kind of a relationship is what works where there's no hesitation. If there's a hesitation, then it's not a 100% bonded free relationship.
yeah, I mean, I hope the industry thrives because of that. I hope forever we foster that. And I'm really looking forward to more and more multi-stars happening. There's a really exciting film happening where after a long time we're going to see the two
Yeah.
big M's together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so good things are happening. Yeah.
But now that you've spoken about it, there was a poster that you guys launched, okay, of L2, and internet broke because they were guessing who that person is.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it Mammootty sir? Is it Basil Joseph?
I don't think it is Mammootty. It should not be. I think there's one thing also that don't overdo it now. I hear so many that they are doing multiple films now coming together in a film. Like don't overdo it. Like it will lose its charm. Like make it a big important narrative where it really works, where they come together. But don't make it like every third film is them coming together now, because that's the biggest stars. Let's bring them together. Let's make the next big Malayalam film. It will become like a cliche. Then it will lose its charm. It will lose its uniqueness.
Or is it Fahad? First.
I could tell you, but then I had to kill you.
Is it one of the three?
No.
It's not one of the three.
No. So I can tell you this much, that
It's a secret though.
when we set out with the casting of this film, I reached out to my wish list, across the world.
Wow.
I reached out to my wish list, and some really big names from the UK, from the US, really big names. And sometimes to my shock and sometimes to my pleasant surprise,
I just, before he says if it worked or not, if they are big names, please don't reveal it in the teaser trailers. Like, don't give us a hint also. Like, if you have still now, the film is over, like they're working on the edit or something, if it's still not out there, save it for the film. Just imagine the first day you're watching and suddenly a big hero or someone shows up as a character and you were just, like, you couldn't even imagine. That's the awe you want to experience. Please don't ruin it with teaser trailers and promos and all, please.
most of them said, yeah, we'd like to explore this. Yeah. And I was like, wow. And we've had to translate the script to a few other languages for them to read and all that. And we have sent it to them and they've said yes. And then the agents come in. Yeah.
Oh my
The
God.
agents come in and we have already briefed them. Listen, this is an Indian film. Moreover, this is a Malayalam film. And the actors understand. The actors are like, yeah, we get it. And I'm asking them for like 4 days or 5 days. And the actors are like, no, then the agents come in. and
Oh
then
my
they
God.
sort of start strategizing, and you reach a point, and I reached a point where I knew that, okay, I have this much money to make the film with. Yeah, I would love so and so, but if I'm going to go for that, then I have to make the film with what is remaining. Or I can let go of the wish list in terms of casting and cast actors that I think are suitable for it, not stars,
okay.
and then go all out in making the film. That's what I've done. So
Good thing. I really thought maybe he got someone, but that's such a good point he made about, and that's such a true thing. This agents, man, like I didn't know who he reached out, but I've also heard some inside stories, and yeah, the agency thing is just killing careers. I am saying, like literally, there are people who are jobless just because they are just doing the wrong things because of what the agents are telling them.
don't expect like some earth-shatteringly big names and all that.
Good.
But there are
Cameos.
Let's get this clear already. Like, don't have this hype and all.
not cameos. There are characters.
They're characters.
Yeah.
Mammootty sir is there in the.
That no, Mamodu sir is not there.
Oh,
There's a
nice.
story. I thought that is at least
No, Mamodu sir is not there in this part of the franchise.
okay. But I want to ask you this: that
Listen to the word slave free. He's not there in this part of the franchise. He didn't say he's not in this part of the franchise. He's not part of the franchise. He said this part. Two different things.
during the launch, you said that for this film, before you got Laika, right, to Malayalam cinema, but they had offered you a film to do which you were supposed to direct Rajnikanth in it, and you couldn't.
Yeah.
Which film was that, and like why couldn't
No, it's not like a witch film. So Laika reached out to me first, asking me if I would direct a film with Rajnikanth sir for them. And I'm like, I would love to. But unfortunately, that had to happen within a particular time period. And me being a part-time director, I don't.
Not at all. You can't be.
I don't direct like one after the other. I direct once in a while. I'm not sitting on a bank of scripts that I wanted, and I'm not. So I was in London, and I met Subhaskaran sir, and we were having lunch together, and I sort of pitched this idea in my mind that I wanted to do with Rajini sir, which is actually an adaptation of an idea that I developed when someone else reached out to me to direct a Hindi film, which I wanted to pitch to Shah Rukh sir, actually.
Whoa.
I hope it happens.
It was actually, yeah. So, and Subhaskaran sir was really excited about the idea. But unfortunately, I didn't have time to develop it any further because I had to start shooting Goat Life. I had to start the second schedule of Goat Life. So that didn't happen, and that project had to happen within a specified time period. But what happened over the meeting was we had developed a relationship, and every time I'm in London, we sort of meet, and he's a really enterprising gentleman, very kind man,
Kind man,
and very ambitious and passionate about cinema. So that eventually led to them being co-producers on Empuraan, and so I hope
what a story.
sometime it happens.
Yeah, I hope someday you direct Shah Rukh Khan in that film that you want to, because you will be amazing. Finally, the
Putting it out in the universe.
last question would be that I know a few films that you are supposed to do. The first is, when is Salar 2 happening? Have you guys started?
So Prashant is just starting his film with Tarak. It's also a very exciting film.
Dragon, I think they have got the rights for that. But I've heard it's going to be connected to KGF in a sense. Like, there's an interview floating around that it was this story that he was telling Yash, and then Yash was like, this KGF part is interesting. And he was like, let's develop that instead of this is just one story. Like, so maybe that's some connection there. But like the first look that came out of NTR, like when they announced the film, looks amazing, but let's see what they develop it into.
Once he finishes that, then Salar 2 will
So
immediately
I guess that film will come and then we'll get a Salar 2.
follow.
There was a Dharma film once offered to you which you couldn't do. Now finally you're doing one, and the world knows it.
Okay.
So that is also being planned for a release this year sometime, right?
I hope so.
And there are two films that are, of course, being discussed everywhere. You are actually doing a film with Rajamouli sir, which is with Mahesh Babu. And the other film that I'm very excited is that I've heard that you're doing Meghna Gulzar's film with Kareena Kapoor.
So
Oh my
both
God.
these films, I mean, we've there are a lot of things to be confirmed and discussed and all that. Let's hope it works. Yeah.
But with Rajamouli sir, the whole idea of just working, if it happens,
Amazing. I mean, I am a huge fan. Who isn't a fan? I'm a huge fan. I've always sort of looked up to him as a filmmaker and also as a dreamer. You know, let's see. I hope it works. It's just a lot of things to sort of fall into place. Yeah.
I hope that you continue making films. You act in them as well as direct. Don't be a part-time director. You've directed one and acted in 4 or 5 films in that process. So why not? You are a fine talent.
That's interesting. He did multiple, like, that's a good combo, right? Like 3 years, do 5 films and direct one. Like, that's a good kind of balance.
we have from India, and I hope that we keep having these conversations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was a fun interview, and I think he kind of said that there are talks happening. But sometimes it also happens that they just put out these things in social media to get how much craze it will develop if Prithviraj is in the film or some other actors in the film. What it will create. Like, I think the marketing thing also, I think somewhere strategically comes in. Like, if we get this actor for this role, of course it needs to first fit as a good casting for that role. But also, if getting this actor versus this actor, will it have a better appeal? Will be able to help that in marketing? Like, I guess the scale they are working at, right? Like, these things would come into play. You have to be smarter. It's not just about getting the right actor. I don't think that's purely there. It's hard for me to believe it's just purely the right actor that you needed and you got them. Sometimes you think that's the right actor, but you don't get the dates, things don't work out, and then you go for someone else, and everyone is destined to play a role, right? But I think somewhere or the other, the marketing, the business angle also comes in, whom to get or whom not to get. I don't know. That's my thing. But yeah, good interview, good questions asked, and a lot of interesting details. Directing SRK, directing Rajnikanth, if that ever happens, that'd be interesting. Directing L2, Mammootty will be there or not? I don't think so. It should not be there. Did he get a big actors like there in the film? Like, it should not become too big of actors that they take away suddenly the limelight and the story. You forget that and just like, oh, how did this actor show up? I don't think that's the case. He didn't say any big actors, but there are some surprises, which is good thing. And I feel like I need to watch Lucifer again before it comes out. Before March, we'll definitely rewatch Lucifer in a live watch along on the channel. Do subscribe for that. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Check out the other interview I reacted to of Prithviraj, and I will see you next time.